This is the Morning Wake Up. Leanna, Bjorn and Josh speaking.
Oh, Leanna, Bjorn Josh, it's Joel here with the King Country from Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, what a surprise. So
Top
great.
of the morning to you. I know, who would have known that this was going to happen, right?
Man, I'm so glad we just answered the phone right now because we would have missed this whole thing. Wow.
Yeah, I was just calling to check in with you guys. You know, I knew it was your morning show, and I thought I'd give you a ring.
Oh,
I'm
thanks,
driving
man.
home from actually a riding session. I thought I'd come and check in and see how you're going over there.
Are you really driving home from a writing session right now?
I am. I'm literally pulling into the house as we speak.
Hey, don't get a speeding ticket.
No, I mean I'm hands free, man. I'm hands free. I got my AirPods in and whatnot, and so I'm in good form.
That was a reference to your unfortunate run-in in New Zealand 2 years ago.
Oh,
when you had a chat to the police officers.
Oh, no.
yeah, he was not very happy with me when just to refresh the listeners, when I asked him what was the speed limit here, and he said, that is not for me, that is for you to figure out, not for you to ask me. He was not pleased at all.
That's
And rightfully so.
That's a
Rightfully
question you're supposed to ask before you start driving rather than once the police pulls you over. And the answer is generally, if a policeman has pulled you over, is slower than you were going.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Joel.
no, it didn't work at all.
So we're just talking to you this morning. No Luke?
No, Luke is actually doing the due diligence and still at the session, actually. So I cut out a bit early to talk to you.
Oh, that's very kind.
So you're a one-take wonder, but he has to, give it a few goes to really nail it, I'm imagining.
Yeah, I did the vocals, and he takes a lot longer than me. He's a bit slower, and so he's got to take his time over there.
Hey, so this is going to be a very weird question, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer it or even know what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to put it out there and see how you respond. How's your bubble looking?
My bubble.
We knew that wasn't an international term.
Yeah, okay, so in New Zealand, we've been calling, well, we have a thing called a bubble.
Quarantine.
Yeah.
Is it the quarantine
Yeah,
bubble?
it's your crew that you're sort of hunkered down with over the lockdown type stuff. But then we don't really know, what does that look like in Nashville at the moment? How locked down are you guys?
Yeah, that phrase didn't make it across the pond. But it's interesting because obviously when you look at the states, you got to kind of, you got Australia, the territories or whatnot, but you got to kind of divide it up. People are making a pretty good habit, and fair enough, of just like lumping 51 states into one conversation.
Right.
But everyone has a different density of population and outbreaks or no outbreaks, and so even down to we're south of Nashville by about 15 miles, so 20 Ks or whatnot, and the situation there looks drastically different than what it does down here. We're much more stores are starting to open. I went and had brekkie somewhere for the first time a couple of days ago. The case count's pretty low. So, but then I've got my sister-in-law in New York who actually had the COVID, and
Oh, wow.
she's a newscaster up there, and she was literally isolated in her apartment for 3 weeks or whatever it was, on her own, couldn't go anywhere, and so it just depends. But no, our bubble down here is actually an appropriate term, and I will use it from now on.
Yeah,
Our
good.
bubble is quite good, for all things considered, really.
So you've got multiple bubbles, basically, where you can merge your bubbles.
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah,
There you go. Oh, you can.
Hey, well, look, it's definitely the wrong language to be using around this kind of time, but feel free to spread that term around.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, we have there's a beer company in America called Corona. And
Yeah.
I've just, every time I see an advertisement, I just go, God bless them. They had one advertisement that said, Corona coming to a shore near you, right as this was hitting. And we're like, oh, guys, Wrong time.
Yeah, well, apparently they've lost hundreds of millions of dollars over this time, so it hasn't. The unlucky naming of the virus has not turned out well for them at all.
Joel, I saw you've gone for like the full buzz cut. You know, like you're basically down to a number one on your hair. Is that because the hairdressers are closed?
Somewhat. You know, when I met my wife, I had pretty short hair, and I think she was just feeling very sort of reflective the other day, and so she literally got on YouTube and YouTubed, sort of faded cut, and she just went to it, and actually did a pretty impressive job. I can't say as much for some friends. I was speaking to Tori Kelly, who sung on a track with us recently, her husband yesterday, and he was telling me about how when she cut his hair just a little while ago, she managed to take a bare blade and run it up the back of his head accidentally, and she was pretty horrified at herself
Oh, no.
for it. So, yeah, Mariah didn't do that, thankfully.
Look, people think celebrities live in this glamorous life, and then you find out that Tori Kelly's given a bad haircut to her husband, and you see they're just real, like anybody else.
Oh, you should see what Josh has managed to do to himself. He didn't even rope his wife in to help him out with his quarantine haircut. He's letting it loose at the back.
Yeah, as an Australian, you will appreciate my head at the moment. I've basically gone number 4, like a short buzz cut on the top and sides, and then the back is a long flowing mullet. And I was actually going to suggest the same for Luke, because he does have long flowing hair, so he could go for the mullet.
He could. Look, I'll make a wager with you. If you could convince him to do that, I will find a way to come down and do a personal show for you down under.
Wow.
Right?
Be careful what you wish for, mate, because
Josh.
we don't give up on things very easily. We spent 4.5 years trying to get an interview with Lauren Daigle, and we finally got that in the end. So we're committed.
Congratulations. You don't understand. Luke hasn't changed his hair in about 15 years. So
Well, that's good.
I'm confident in my wager.
Okay, good. Okay. Wow.
Hey, Joel, I've only been working at Life FM and Rima for about a year now, and I'll be honest, Life FM, this radio station, and Rima, the morning wake up, is the reason that I was introduced to For King and Country. And I thought to myself, what have I been doing? Why have I not heard these guys before? And then I realised maybe that's because I was too busy listening to Rebecca St. James. And then I realised, wow, actually, maybe that does mean I have been a fan of For King and Country, technically.
Of the family, yeah.
For many years. I just wanted to confirm with you that if I was a fan of your sister, does that kind of cross over? And can I claim being a fan of For King and Country for a very long time?
No doubt, Leanna. You can claim that, and with a lot of pride. In fact, look, I've said it pretty publicly that For King and Country is really, in many ways, a legacy band of Rebecca. In that we cut our teeth traveling with her. You know, we were background vocals and stage managing, a spotlight operator as teenagers. That's where we fell in love with music. That's where we saw the impact of music, learned kind of the craft of live shows. And so no Rebecca St. James, no For King and Country. So, yes, amen, and go for it.
And it's true, right, Joel? Like, you guys were actually literally basically her kind of crew.
Her roadies.
For her live shows.
Dad managed her. Dad also manages us, but he managed her and he needed cheap labor. He had 5 sons. He looked around and he said, "You guys are the road crew." That was it.
Hey, well, it is quite a family affair, the music in your family, and there's been so much good stuff come out of that, and I think the world's been very blessed by that, which is pretty cool. Hey, just your latest song with, you mentioned before, Tori Kelly and Kirk Franklin together. Tell us a bit about this song. How did it come about and how it all came together?
Yeah. Together, get it? I see what you mean.
He was hoping you didn't notice that.
I've found myself every time. I mean, you got to think. Yeah, I'm sure you see it down there. Every every hashtag right now, every government medical statement's about together, and so it's been sort of a fly on the wall for a while. But look, we had a really hard time with this song. We wrote it a while ago, but we've kind of been trying to find out, well, what is it? When is it meant to find its way into the world? We thought maybe we got presidential elections coming up this year, and it looks like it might be a bit topsy-turvy. And so we thought, well, maybe this will be a song about togetherness during that time. Maybe is it a racial thing, an equality thing? We just didn't know. And then we'd taken the first 3 months of this year off. We just started a tour, beginning of March, the tour in Canada. And we played 2 shows out of about 12 before everything obviously started shutting down. And the second show, which turns out will be the last show we've played from then to now, Luke walked off stage and said, this is the moment. And so from that day to this, from the song itself, and you mentioned Tori, her coming on board and singing it, and to the music video, to trying to get everything buttoned up, that has been the journey, has been to try to get this to the world. And it's, it's just the really the heartbeat of it now is, hey, when we're physically separated and physically isolated, how can we actually, under God, choose togetherness in such a time where there can be you want to talk about a hotbed for division. There can be so much division during this time and separatism, if you will. And so it's, we're just thrilled, man. We're thrilled to have, it's been a bit of a miracle, really, to get it out into the world and to have Kirk and Tori, and I sometimes call them Talk and Curry, but to have them have the song out in the world. Yeah.
I did see that you, filmed parts of the music video, like obviously at home by yourself. There's a little cool bit at the very end where you pull the black bit down and they're like, oh, it's in your own home. And I thought that was a really kind of special bit, and people can relate to, being at home. Well,
I've often said, and I've never gotten to practice it in this way, but, creativity and confinement can actually breed really beautiful creativity. The hardest part for me is kind of when the world's your oyster. And so we had it was arduous, but we had a really special time putting this together, Leanna, because there wasn't any choices. I will say this, though, a bit of a difficult, sorry, I'm taking my dog on a walk right now. She's been cooped up all day. So forgive me for the trucks.
That's so good of you.
Big American trucks passing by here while I'm trying to talk to you. But you can imagine, though, as we finish the song, Tori Kelly's in California, Kirk's in Texas, we're in Tennessee, trying to, put together, how do we approach Kirk and Tori and say, hey, guys, we're going to send you a backdrop and a ring light and a really nice camera and a stand and 3 pages of instructions. I want you to film this in your house, looking into the camera, playing it on your iPhone, and try and convince them that it's actually going to be really good. And I got to tell you, they've just been great, because they went for it. They got it, and everyone is just really, we're sort of beside ourselves at how well it all came together in the end.
Did the dog make an appearance in your video in earlier takes, Joel?
No, but my wife, Mariah, and I are good friends with Tori and her husband, Andre, and I ended up doing a bit of, our brother Ben does all our video work, and so I did a bit of the editing with him on this one, and so I got to see a lot of the raw footage, and there's just this kind of spooky shot in Tori's house of this, her husband's a basketball player, but it was all shot at night, and so they turned out all the lights in the room, and you got Tori kind of singing really heartfelt into the camera. And then there's this enormous man behind her, sort of mid-walk. And I took a screen grab of him and sent it to him, because I just thought, this guy, I haven't talked to Tori about it. I was like, what was your husband doing? He's just sort of roaming around like a creeper in the background. But no. My pup never made it in, actually.
Hey, well, you guys over the last couple of years obviously just been blowing up. Like, latest album's been huge, massive songs off it, and you've done some great collaborations. Obviously, the latest one with Tori Kelly and Kirk Franklin, but I mean, you did the, God Only Knows with Dolly Parton, like, incredible story behind that, and then like Timberland's remixed one of your songs. I mean, I don't know if you've got some more sort of collabs coming in the pipeline at all, but bucket list, if you could pick anybody in the world, musician-wise, what would be like the dream of a feature on one of your songs? Like, who would you just love to work with?
Hey guys, your ears must be bleeding because I literally got a text message from our A&R guy, the record label, saying, quote, "Send me a list of your dream collabs today." I need to give it a bit more thought, but I will say this: before Dolly, actually, one of the folks, we actually no one really knows this, but we kind of wrote the bridge to God Only Knows, which is the song she ended up featuring on. We wrote it for Bono from U2 to sing.
Oh.
And, we had to kind of have some loose connections with him. So even in one of the rough demos, I sort of did my best Bono impersonation on the bridge to try and persuade him to be interested. I don't think it ever made it to him. I think it's buried in his inbox somewhere. but yeah, so he would be. I've always just admired them so incredibly, and he would be a real dream to have a part of a song. His voice is just so iconic, and so I'll put that one high on the list for sure.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Hey, Joel, can your dog speak on command?
Sort of.
Can you just put? Can we be the first radio station to have interviewed Joel Smallbone's dog?
Yes. Hang on one sec. Let me provoke her real quick.
What's her name?
Her name's Meriweather. Mary, hey. All right, you ready? Let me see if I can get this going here.
Yeah.
Mary. Hey. Come on, Mary. Mary. Hey. It's not gonna happen.
Hey, it was fun to
You got a growl there.
It was definitely.
She does this funny thing. If you get on the other side of like a table or something, and you just sort of get down as if you're ready to go, she will. And she's a Great Dane, so I don't know what this is in kilos, but she's 140 pounds. And so she's got this like.
She's as heavy as me.
She's got this deep, aggressive bark that's pretty profound. So next time I'll.
Okay, well, it was fun to listen to your try, but please don't provoke your dog so much. We don't want to be the radio station responsible for a dog attack for King and Country. So.
My arm's gone because of Rima FM.
Hey, Joel, thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us today. We're really loving the new track Together.
And any word on, you said you were coming from literally a writing session. People love the last album. Obviously, it's been huge, and it must be a big task to try and think of how you're going to take that to the next level or top it. But any ideas on new music or a new album? Any ideas on that?
Well, we've got a couple kind of things in the pipeline. One that I'm actually really excited about is we're putting together a documentary that's not been officially announced yet, but a worthy mention, basically called Return to the Sydney Opera House.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, yeah. I just got chills.
Chronicle our whole journey as a family, which was a pretty topsy-turvy one, from Australia to the States and losing everything and sort of starting over. And then our, obviously, coming back last year, which was one of the highlights of our career, and our first official show as a band being at the Sydney Opera House, and in Australia, that is. And so it's really excited about that. We filmed both shows at the Sydney Opera House, and so we're excited to be able to not only show the footage but tell the story of the last few decades and then coming home again. So that's one thing. And then one other thing we're really talking about is just we've got a couple other songs in the pipeline, more kind of singles, just talking about in the in-between here, just servicing a couple of these songs, and before we actually, officially dive into a project.
Awesome. Hey, well, I'm so looking forward to that documentary. I remember when we interviewed you at Festival One, and it was either just before or just after you'd gone to Australia to play those shows, and you talking about the story of kind of redemption for your family and for your father, the Sydney Opera House kind of being the catalyst for you having to leave Australia and then coming back after all of that time and selling it out in a whole new form was really a crazy,
it's inspiring.
It's like a picture of how God, breathes new life into things and redeems all things. So, oh man, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be good.
Thanks, guys. Well, thanks for the time, and always appreciate your consideration and your kind of inviting us in as family. And Leanna, welcome to the family. Speaking of, and hope you're enjoying your time.
Oh, thank you, Joel, so much. Joel for King from For King and Country joined us on the phone. Thank you so much, and we will catch you later.
All right, Meriweather sends her love.
Oh, that's so kind.
Well,
I can't wait to
woof
meet her one day.
From us. All right.